I mean, he's a fool and he's a moron, but also, most importantly, Sean, he hates America. And let's just be honest about it. You can't love your country and then fight President Trump to keep murderers murdering. Just think about that for a second. President Trump is saying, let us work with you, with the FBI, with ICE, with ATF, with DEA, with the National Guard, to stop the murdering in your city. Pritzker is saying he wants to protect the murderers, the people that are shooting dozens and dozens of people every single week. Chicago is more dangerous than Baghdad. It's more dangerous than Mexico City. So shame on Pritzker, and God bless President Trump for fighting for the citizens of this country, Sean.
Chicago recently had one deal where they had 11 murders in one weekend, and they said, well, yeah, but it was a holiday weekend. They actually told me that was the reason, like it was okay because it was a holiday. It was Labor Day. These people are the worst. They really have to, they better, I tell you what, the people in Chicago and the people in places like that can be fixed. At some point, it gets to where you can't fix it anymore. It's too far gone. And we have some cities like that. But these are great cities that can be fixed. But I want to thank Stephen Miller, who's right back in the audience right there. I'd love to have him. I love watching him on television. I'd love to have him come up and explain his true feelings. But maybe not his truest feelings. That might be going a little bit too far. But, Stephen, thank you for doing an unbelievable job. And the people of this country love you.
Well, speaking of Chicago, it is one of the country's biggest cities, and the situation there continues to deteriorate. The Texas National Guard has now been sent in. Jenny, obviously this is being done to quell those anti-ICE protests, but can you elaborate on the situation that's currently going on there?
Right. So you had the Trump administration say, we need to send in the troops. We need to send in Texas National Guard, Illinois National Guard to go in to provide protection to our ICE agents, to Border Patrol agents who are on the ground, who are really going out to do the job that, you know, this mass deportation plan is. They're out there despite 1,000% uptick in assaults on agents. And they're also seeing, you know, real threats against them. Just recently, the head of this operation, which has been dubbed Midway Blitz, the operation in Chicago and Illinois, the head of that operation for Border Patrol has a bounty placed on his head by a member of the Latin Kings gang in Chicago, a $10,000 bounty. He put that message out on Snapchat, and thankfully law enforcement has been investigating this and, you know, kept tabs on it. It's the threats that are still emerging that we don't know about that I think the Trump administration is trying to get ahead of, because we've seen things that have turned really deadly and really dangerous for our ICE agents and for Border Patrol agents, including in Dallas, Texas, where an ICE facility was recently the target of a shooting that tragically ended with 2 detainees being killed. Now, the shooter was wanting to target ICE officers in that facility and had noted that in several different pieces of evidence that he left for investigators to find. So these anti-ICE activists are really acting on their really dangerous beliefs, and the Trump administration is taking that seriously because they don't want to have any blood spilled over this issue.
Look, all of this comes after Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson this week signed executive orders to create ICE-free zones across the sanctuary city. Mayor Johnson said the order was focused on, quote, reining in this out-of-control administration. But Jenny, how is the Trump administration meant to govern when he has one of the biggest cities revolting against him and his agencies?
Right. It's incredible that a sanctuary city leader and that sanctuary state leaders are really doubling down on their protection of illegal immigrant criminals. That's really what they're doing here. Mayor Brandon Johnson is creating these no-go zones for ICE, but that really just shields these illegal immigrant criminals further. He's asking even local businesses to participate in this. So illegal immigrant criminals take note of that, and they know that they'll be shielded by that, which is why under the Biden administration and then under the Trump administration, these illegal immigrant criminals, particularly the gang Tren de Aragua, which the Trump administration is trying to crack down on, flooded to cities like Chicago, where they created footholds for the gang. The Trump administration just raided an apartment complex that the gang was said to have operated out of, and that's kind of their MO. We've seen that in the past in places like Aurora, Colorado, and El Paso, Texas, and they shut it down. And that's exactly what needs to be done to counteract these gangs. Now, the mainstream media will paint these stories as something else, and they focus more on these false narratives that children are being zip tied, that U.S. citizens are being arrested for no reason whatsoever. But they're not showing what's truly happening on the ground, that illegal aliens for years have been protected under these sanctuary leaders. And the Trump administration is actually the one trying to restore safety here and to crack down on these people and to return them back to Venezuela, which, by the way, you know, with these gang members, the Biden administration wasn't able to get Venezuela to accept them. They knew that. So they went to sanctuary cities, one, for protection. They came to America because they knew nothing could be done to remove them. Now that's all changed under Trump.